3 in the morning, November 2nd, 2022. The air conditioning hums inside a $30 million penthouse in the Bahamas. A dozen brilliant kids from elite universities are asleep on beanbag chairs. They think they run the financial world. They think they are the untouchable vanguard of a new era. But a ticking time bomb has just been detonated, and they do not even know it yet. How long does it take to burn $32 billion? Not a lifetime, not a decade, just 72 hours. This is not a story about money. Money is just a number on a screen. This is an autopsy of the greatest financial illusion of our generation. Let the clock start. Every empire falls because of a single loose brick. For FTX, that brick was a leaked Excel spreadsheet. It started with a whisper on the internet. A reporter at CoinDesk hit publish on an article that would change history forever. It was a mundane piece of investigative journalism looking into the balance sheet of Alameda Research. Alameda was the sister company to FTX, the shadowy hedge fund run by Sam Bankman-Fried and his inner circle. Wall Street thought Alameda was a trading juggernaut, making billions through complex quantitative algorithms and pure mathematical genius. The leaked document revealed a much darker, much stupider truth. Alameda claimed to have $14.6 billion in assets, but when you looked closely at the rows and columns, the blood in your veins would freeze. The vast majority of their wealth was tied up in a single asset. FTT. What exactly is FTT? It is a crypto token invented by FTX. They literally printed it out of thin air. Imagine you open a casino. You print 1 billion plastic poker chips with your own face on them. You declare that each chip is worth $10. Suddenly you tell the bank you are a billionaire, and you use those plastic chips as collateral to borrow real, hard cash. That is exactly what Sam Bankman-Fried did. He printed magic internet money, artificially inflated its price on his own exchange, and then used it to borrow billions of dollars in real customer funds. It was the ultimate incestuous financial relationship. FTX and Alameda were supposed to be completely separate entities. Sam went on national television, sat before the United States Congress, and swore under oath that customer funds were safe, segregated, and never touched. He lied. The leaked spreadsheet proved that Alameda was secretly propped up by FTX customer deposits. If the price of FTT dropped, the entire $32 billion house of cards would instantly collapse. There was no risk management department. There was no board of directors. There was just a group of 20-somethings in the Bahamas, taking amphetamines, playing League of Legends during business meetings, and gambling with the life savings of millions of people. When the CoinDesk article dropped at T-72 hours, the broader market did not panic immediately. Most people could not comprehend the math. They could not believe that the golden boy of crypto, the man who was plastered on billboards across the globe, the man who donated tens of millions to political campaigns, was running a giant shell game. Sam was protected by his aura of genius. He wore cargo shorts and a messy afro. He drove a beat-up Corolla. He constantly talked about giving all his money away to charity to save the world. The public trusted the aesthetic of the humble billionaire. But behind the closed doors of that penthouse, the panic was setting in. The spreadsheet was out. The secret was exposed. And the sharks were starting to smell blood in the water. The true horror of the FTX structure was not just the fake money, it was the backdoor. In any normal financial institution, if a trading firm loses too much money, an automated system liquidates their account to protect the exchange. It is a hard-coded safety net. FTX marketed their liquidation engine as a technological marvel, but deep inside the millions of lines of code, hidden from auditors and regulators, was a secret exemption. A multi-billion-dollar backdoor built exclusively for Alameda Research. Their account was programmed to never be liquidated, no matter how much money they lost, no matter how reckless their trades were. The system simply allowed them to reach their hands into the customer cookie jar and take whatever they needed to cover their massive gambling losses. Alameda was run by Caroline Ellison, Sam's on and off girlfriend. She once publicly admitted in a podcast that she did not believe in stop losses, which is a basic risk management tool used by literally every trader on Earth. She was managing billions of dollars using elementary math. The leaked balance sheet showed that they held billions of FTT, but there were only a few $1 million of FTT actively trading in the open market. It was an illiquid nightmare. If they tried to sell even a fraction of their tokens, the price would plummet to zero in seconds. They were trapped in a prison of their own making. The walls of the Bahamian penthouse were closing in. The silence after the CoinDesk publication was deafening. It was the calm before the ultimate slaughter. In the underworld, nobody announces an execution. They just pull the trigger. And the man holding the gun was thousands of miles away, watching the spreadsheet and waiting for the perfect moment to strike. In the underworld, you do not declare war with an army. You declare it with a tweet. Changpeng Zhao, known as CZ, was the founder of Binance, the largest crypto exchange on the planet. He was Sam's biggest rival. They had a complicated history. Binance was an early investor in FTX, but as Sam's political influence grew, he started lobbying regulators in Washington to crack down on Binance. Sam flew too close to the sun, and he made the fatal mistake of insulting the most powerful man in the industry. CZ read the CoinDesk article. He saw the gaping wound in the FTX balance sheet, and he knew exactly how to twist the knife. On November 6th, CZ sent a tweet to his millions of followers. Due to recent revelations that have come to light, we have decided to liquidate any remaining FTT on our books. 14 words. That is all it took to execute a $32 billion empire. CZ framed it as a routine risk management decision, but everyone in the market knew what it really was. It was a public assassination. By announcing he was dumping his massive bags of FTT, CZ triggered a death spiral. The price of FTT began to freefall. Caroline Ellison, panicking in the Bahamas, tweeted an offer to buy all of Binance's FTT at $22 per token in a desperate attempt to defend the peg. But the damage was already done. The market smelled fear. If the CEO of Alameda was begging to buy tokens over the counter to prevent a price collapse, it meant the spreadsheet was real. It meant they were insolvent. What happened next was the most brutal, fast-paced bank run in the history of finance. Customers realized that FTX was not a secure vault. It was a burning building. The exits were getting crowded. Click. Withdraw. Click. Withdraw. Billions of dollars started draining from the exchange. In the traditional banking system, a bank run takes days or weeks. People have to physically line up outside a branch. But in the crypto world, capital moves at the speed of light. Within 48 hours, a staggering $6 billion vanished from the FTX platform. The withdrawal queue grew exponentially. The system was choking. Inside the Penthouse, the atmosphere morphed from arrogance to absolute terror. Sam Bankman-Fried was glued to his monitors, watching his net worth drop by the billions with every passing hour. He was making frantic phone calls to Wall Street billionaires, begging for a bailout. He was calling Saudi princes. He was calling anyone who would pick up the phone, but nobody wanted to catch a falling knife. As the withdrawal processing slowed to a crawl, panic on Twitter reached a fever pitch. People were sharing screenshots of their pending transactions. The money was not moving. The FTX wallets on the blockchain were being drained dry. At this exact moment, knowing full well that he did not have the money to pay back his customers, Sam Bankman-Fried sat in the dark and typed out a lie that would cement his legacy as one of the greatest frauds in modern history. He tweeted, "FTX is fine. Assets are fine. FTX has enough to cover all client holdings. We do not invest client assets." It was a sociopathic level of deception. He knew the $8 billion hole existed. He knew Alameda had lost the money in catastrophic trades months ago. But he lied anyway, hoping to buy enough time to miraculously find a lender. He deleted the tweet a few hours later. But the internet never forgets. The trust was entirely broken. The price of FTT crashed below the $22 defense line. Alameda's collateral was now utterly worthless. The margin calls hit. The loans were called in. The infinite money loop had shattered. The Bahamian cartel was bleeding out on the floor, and the sharks were circling closer. When a drowning man reaches for a hand, sometimes he grabs an anchor. T-minus 24 hours. With nowhere left to run, Sam Bankman-Fried did the unthinkable. He crawled back to the man who just destroyed him. He called Changpeng Zhao and begged for a buyout. Shockingly, CZ agreed. Binance announced a non-binding letter of intent to acquire FTX and save the users. For a brief, agonizing moment, the crypto market exhaled. The savior had arrived, but it was just a final, cruel illusion. When Binance executives opened the FTX financial books to conduct their due diligence, they recoiled in absolute horror. They expected a liquidity crunch. They did not expect a crime scene. Corporate funds were being used to buy luxury real estate for employees in the Bahamas under their personal names. Expense reports were approved using personalized emojis on a chat app. There was no accurate list of bank accounts. There was no accurate list of employees. The accounting department was essentially a joke. And worst of all, there was an $8 billion black hole where customer deposits were supposed to be. Less than 24 hours after offering the lifeline, Binance walked away. They released a statement that sent a death chill through the market. As a result of corporate due diligence, as well as the latest news reports regarding mishandled customer funds, we have decided that we will not pursue the potential acquisition of FTX. The issues are beyond our control or ability to help. That was it. The final nail in the coffin. The anchor dropped, pulling FTX into the abyss. Hour 0, November 11th. FTX officially filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. The $32 billion valuation vaporized into thin air. The executives packed their bags and fled the island in the middle of the night. The lawyers moved in. The United States Department of Justice and the SEC unleashed a massive coordinated strike. According to the SEC complaint, Case number 1, 22 CV 10501, Sam Bankman-Fried orchestrated a years-long massive fraud, diverting billions of dollars of the trading platform's customer funds for his own personal benefit. It was not a complicated algorithmic anomaly. It was not a genius hack. It was just a guy taking money that did not belong to him and spending it. He used your money to buy naming rights to a sports arena. He used your money to pay celebrities to do commercials. He used your money to secure access to the highest levels of the United States government. He built an empire on the philosophy of effective altruism, lecturing the world on how to be a better person while running a criminal enterprise from a beanbag chair. He once could buy a country. Now, he is sitting in a federal prison cell. He was sentenced to 25 years behind bars. His net worth is zero. The penthouse is empty. The algorithms have stopped running, and the prodigy who thought he was invincible is not even allowed to own a smartphone. If you want to survive the next financial illusion, you know what button to click. See you in the next autopsy.